Hello, and welcome to How to Play D&D, the explainer podcast with one experienced dungeon master and one fellow scriptwriter to discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is Lewis McCaffery. Hello, Lewis.
Hello. I don't know why I was waiting for you to stumble again.
I stumbled the first time we did this recording.
I mean...
But the second time, flew through it.
I mean, given the subject of today's episode, it makes sense that we're going to fumble everything.
100%.
And it'd be chaos.
Well, even though this podcast will come out way in advance of when we've recorded this, today on Saturday the 7th of December, we did have a comment from a YouTuber or someone on YouTube who said, great stuff, but please keep the chat down from 5 minutes. Our second person to say that. So we're going to attempt it, despite it's meant to be fun. It's a podcast. Yeah, it's not
you say we're going to attempt it. We're not doing that now. We are just going to keep talking.
We're going to chat shit. Yeah. I'll let you know when we decide to actually get into it.
You don't decide when we stop chatting shit.
We are the captain now. Today's episode, then, is the finale for Season 3. Yeah,
it's been a long road.
A long road. A long, long road.
Filled with many of tears.
Yes, and so usually, usually you don't know what's coming up for the topic, but today's the finale, so you do, because we prepped, this time it's the D&D movie of 2000. 2000, Arguably the worst movie of that year, probably. Yeah. I didn't look up other bad movies. I should have done it in advance of this podcast.
It came out less than a month after I was born.
How fucking sad is that? And only 8 years after I was born.
Well, yeah. So I hope that makes you feel old.
Yeah, think about your age. Think about our ages and then work out, our ages too far apart to be lovers?
Never.
Question it.
Polarise. I was going to say something very questionable then, but I'll leave it.
Alright, yeah, sure, okay. Well, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so today's episode is on the 2000s D&D movie. Our mate Terry has finally done it and got us an illegal copy of the 2000s D&D movie, as promised in our Season 2 finale for the 2003 movie. We watched it so you didn't have to, but it turns out it's so bad you may want to get yourself a little Terry and watch the movie from the comfort of his ample bosom.
What? Why didn't I have that option when we watched it? That would have made it better.
It's beautiful. You actually took photos of us, our reactions to this.
Yes, I did.
Genuine, because I didn't know you were taking photos, and in your one you're disappointed, and in mine I look like I'm asleep.
Yeah, I've showed a couple of people, and one of our first reactions was, you look like you're genuinely upset about watching it.
I am. I actually saw this movie in the cinema with my dad before he left for a pack of cigs and never came back. And to be honest, it gave me a lot of flashbacks, because I remember wanting to see it as a kid, not because of D&D, but because it's dragons. I had no idea what D&D was, and he took me, and then he went, I'm going to go get a pack of cigs, and he never came back. And then when I left the cinema, I thought, it's really weird, because one, he does this often, but they don't even sell cigarettes in the cinema. Not even in 2000.
Maybe that's why. Maybe he knew you'd like that kind of movie, took you to it, and then he was just like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
I would rather die of cancer somewhere than fucking deal with this kid. Oh no, the movie, yeah.
And sit in a cinema with him again.
100%.
Oh
right.
My God.
Right, I think we've hit like the 4 minute mark, so we're still under the 5 that the guy requested. Lewis, I've forgotten to take my flea medication for the past 2 weeks, and I'm starting to itch behind the anus. Will I be safe to continue performing the wheelbarrow position? What am I doing?
What is behind the anus? You know what? Yes, you will. I'll tell you what you'll do. We'll enter a joint wheelbarrow race together.
Ooh.
I'll hold you from behind.
Yeah.
And if there's any fleas there, I will suck them out.
Oh.
Yeah. That is what you do.
Oh. Yeah. Is behind the anus your back?
Yeah.
Or is it the bit in between? What's the front of the anus?
I don't know.
Where does it begin and where does it end?
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
That's...
Is the front of the anus, and the back of it your mouth?
I don't know. Or I was about to say, is the back of the anus like on the outside, but like towards your back, or is it inside? I don't know.
Well, I mean, let's continue with the actual podcast of it, because it's also an anus. Right. We, like the previous one we covered, fun ability, story, rules, fan service. I reckon it's been quite a quick episode,
Yes.
or very long. So, funability, all I put was pure trash.
Yeah, okay. So what I'll try and do for when we talk about this, I will try and see the good in it. Because like I said yesterday, that I enjoyed how shit it was, but that's because I went in knowing I'd be disappointed, so I saw it as a joke. If I went in expecting a proper movie, I probably would have hanged myself in the cinema. So, but yeah, funability, it's pretty shit. Yeah, it's got some aspects where I was like, actually into it, but they very quickly died out with shit humour or shit acting or the blue lipstick guy just doing stuff.
I need to bring this up, and this isn't this is gonna sound racist, and actually I'm being the opposite of racist here. I mean, I guess maybe it's for that time period. I mean, I was old enough to understand, but I guess not old enough to realise it was like everywhere in cinema. But just black comedic. Black comedic, what's it called? Like a
comic relief.
Black comic relief.
Yeah, he did very much seem just like a token black character that they added for the sake of it, where he didn't really have any personality other than making bad jokes.
And I can't remember which of the Winans brothers it was, but obviously they had just like a year before hit big with like Scary Movie, or a couple of years before, and they were in their like peak of like those kind of comedy movies they're smashing out. So it makes sense that he's the person they put in it.
Yeah.
But he's just fucking irritating, isn't he? And it's definitely not his fault. Like, no, someone's gone, we need someone black, and we're gonna ruin this movie.
It was just a poorly written character. Like, the stuff he was saying, 90% of the time was not, or 99%
it was just
of the time
noises.
Wasn't funny.
It was actually just noises, like high pitched noises.
And it was the kind of humour that you expect in a really bad old like sketch video, where they were trying to sneak around, and he happens to drop a very large glass, and then is really clumsy about it, and it's like.
Yeah, like he is the village idiot.
Yeah.
And it's odd because what's worse about the movie is it actually takes itself seriously, but then has an idiot character like that. Whereas like the modern movie we had like last year, 2 years ago now, it understands that it can be cheesy, and that's what's funny about it. Yeah, and instead the serious characters are the ones that are funny because they're odd.
Exactly.
Like, and in this it was just the opposite, and I just thought we had to bring that up because it's just. It's uncomfortable to watch.
It was at times, yeah. They shouldn't have tried to make his character such a like comedy relief character.
Yeah, definitely.
It might have been good.
Yeah. All right. So funability. Just continue with this. You said there were bits that you really enjoyed. What kind of bits did you enjoy? Is there like D&D bits that you enjoy, or just the movie in general?
There were certain bits in it, like even just. Very basic ones, like when they find the Thieves Guild in there. Yeah. The fact that they're going through doing things like that. Obviously, a lot of it was very much like skipped over. It was like they heard they need to find it, and then they're in it, and it's like...
Yeah, it's weird actually. They have a lot of adventure-y bits, and yet then they just appear there.
They just skip over
and
it.
What's even funnier is they use a hell of a lot of teleportation in this film, and it's 2 skip bits. But then, weirdly, like finding the Thieves Guild, they don't teleport to that. No. They just appear. So it's like, what do you want? Like, what are you doing with this? Why do you need these tools? You know?
Yeah, it was weird. That's the thing where I say, like, there were bits where I enjoyed it, like where they're looking for that or they find it. But then it's very quickly the enjoyment goes because of something like that. It's just skipped over. Or I quite liked the bit where he was going in the cave and looking for the ruby of Dragon's Eye or whatever it's called. But again, it's also ruined by the fact that it's a party of 4 and 3 of them yet again cannot follow him into the cave.
I don't think there's a single moment in the movie where the party is working together. Like they're always all defeated except the like white male lead.
Yeah.
Which is pretty mad. Like it's odd. And I bring up the white male lead because weirdly, for that time period, there's literally like a black elf, which is surprising. There is the Winans brother, like Snails, his name is, character who gets killed off but replaced with a black elf.
Yeah.
So it's weird that for that time period of film to have that anyway.
Yeah.
But then still like not come through with it.
No, exactly. I mean? it just felt let down by a lot of aspects like that. So.
It tries things and doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even like attempt to and fail. It just gives up, kind of thing.
Just a shit film.
I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked it up, but the Thieves Guild leader, pretty sure that's the guy from the original Crystal Maze.
Oh, yeah,
I'm adamant it is. And one of the funability things for me was obviously it's like, oh, I know this guy, and I'm sure people at the time, as Crystal Maze has kind of just come to an end then, people absolutely loved it, and it makes complete sense it's him. But he's clearly so painfully camp in the movie, and yet he's surrounded by bitches. And I say bitches because he's literally like, have a sniff, look at her. Like,
literally.
It is like, he literally slaps like the main like female lead's ass, and everyone is fine with it. No one questions it, and he's kind of like, look what I've got. But he's like so gay, and not in an insulting way. He is literally very I actually don't know if he's gay in real life, but he's so painfully camp in the movie. It's such a weird option to like.
Why do both?
Yeah, like, I get why you've got him, but then why make him that? You know, like it's so funny. What else have we got?
To be fair, one thing, even though the CGI in it is shit, I did actually like the fact that, I mean, even though it was completely unprovoked, but the fact that you actually had a bit of a dragon fight at the end. It was. The only reason I think that's quite fun, I'll say, is because in a lot of these movies, they'll always tease stuff like that, but you'll see one dragon and then they'll like foil the plan kind of thing.
Yeah, to even start with a dragon at the beginning, in the first like 2 minutes, you've got a dragon and it's killed. You're like, whoa, okay. And it's not like some hero slaying it or a bad guy just like, he's attempting something. You know, there's not like this shows how good he is. He just gives you his motive, really.
There are a number of things that at least make you want to watch more in it, which I think is good. But
it's just such... Even for its time, I remember it being slated as a kid for how bad it looked.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's because time has gone on.
No.
There were movies... Like Lord of the Rings had come out.
I was just about to say that.
Star Wars had been like 20 years, like 30 years before. You know, Jurassic Park. Harry Potter had been at release. It's like, there's no excuse for it.
It was terrible.
Right.
It looked horrible.
Story. Tell me what the story is.
The story's horrible. No, again, it's got its upsides, but it's just horrible. It's like you start off with obviously this evil guy. You don't know who he is, what he's doing, or trying to tame a dragon or something or control it. And then it just goes to thieves, and then it's on about everyone hates commoners, and the commoners hate mages, and it's like, why? Okay. And then it's just... Yeah, they try and get the gold scepter off the princess, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to kill you all, and sends an army of dragons.
She's just as bad as the baddies.
Yeah, it's
how she goes about things.
It's made out that she's fighting for change so that commoners and mages are treated the same. So it's like, all right, she's pretty decent. But then the next scene, it's literally...
She just starts a war.
She has started a war. It's not like she's threatened it, because she did threaten it in the scene before. She was like, oh, well, if you try and do this, we will fight back. And it's like... Instead of fighting back, I'm going to send 30 dragons to blow your castle up. And it's like, that's not how it works.
And unlike the last finale we did, where we actually looked up bits of Easter eggs, I have not done that. This film doesn't deserve time.
No.
But the story, from watching it that then, it's the bad guy, Jeremy Irons, is currently a good guy. But he's got evil motives, and his motives is to take over. Now, to take over, he needs the gold scepter, which the Empress has. The Empress is like, we need to be nice to poor people. That's pretty much the premise. And then, because she won't give it up, he then finds out about the red scepter.
Yeah,
it's not even his idea, but he finds out about the red scepter. Then he gets hold of it, and they fight. What was he gonna do after he'd been in control? Like, what was his actual end game? To just be in control? Maybe, I don't know. Does he need to kill everyone in the city that he's going to run after with? That's like, you know, like Putin, like supposedly being like, what was the Putin has said, like, you know, when the Ukraine war started, you know, why would I nuke a place if I nuked like London, for example? Then what am I conquering? You know, and it's exactly the same. Like, if he's sending a fleet of red dragons to burn the city down, then what's he in charge of?
I've no idea. I don't think he thought that through.
Well, yeah, I don't think the film's that like, it's too far fetched.
Random. It was just, I think it doesn't help as well because it was like an hour and 49 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
and because it skips so many bits, there are loads of bits that aren't explained or that they just rush over, so it just feels so random. It's why? Oh, I don't know. It's horrible.
It is a mess. It's a fucking mess.
One of the worst things I think with the story is that the white male lead, who is a thief, has been a thief all his life, suddenly has the sword skills to be a general of an army and a top mage, and it's like
the top mage.
It's like, I get the hero has to be pretty strong, maybe he's a prodigy or something, but he's literally battered the general of an army. And
he could at least defeat them with his own skill set, and he doesn't. He just has like a secret one he's good at. What else was I thinking? Going back to the poor story and fun ability mix there. So Snails, his like the comedic relief, he dies. Main character's gutted about this, and then the mage girl just goes, "Do you want a kiss?" He goes, "Yes," and then just is instantly fine after telling her how everything she believes in has got his best mate killed, and then she's like, "Fancy a shag?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I am."
Fair play.
It's all good now, and even the music changes to be like, "Finally,
finally they're in love." His friend's dead, but it's fine.
He got his virginity taken from him.
Oh my god!
Just like his friend. Right, rules.
No. One thing I'll say, and this is the last thing of the story thing, the ending was the shittest ending of any movie I've ever seen. So to summarise, this is a massive spoiler. This dead guy...
It's not a spoiler.
Wow. This dead guy, they're at his grave, which for some reason, they're surrounded by normal graves, but instead they've written his name on a stone, so already it's a bit shit.
He considered a hero, but they just put pebbles on top of each other rather than giving him a grave.
And then he places this ruby that... We have no idea what it does. All it does at the moment is fit in a statue. Yeah,
so that's another problem. Like, we know what it does because it fits in the door of the dragon, the dragon's eye, and that allows him into the chamber to gain the red scepter. But if he takes that stone, surely that entire cave of riches and where this red like now he's just kind of like must have set off traps or deactivated, or there's definitely a consequence for him just taking the ruby back.
Exactly. And so he puts it on the grave, the name disappears, so Snail's name's not there anymore, and it glows.
Just disappears.
And then he's confused, and then this elf comes over and just says, "Don't question it, your friend's waiting," and they all disappear.
They all just vanish.
What?
Yeah.
And literally straight after it ended, I literally turned to you and said, what do you mean don't question it? I'm questioning it. What's happening?
Because that was clearly like a reshoot where they were like, we can't let this guy die.
Getting ready for a sequel.
Yeah, let's get a sequel in, and it didn't happen. So, and they've got sequels, but they're not direct sequels. They're just
fan made.
Yeah, or like movies later on that are kind of like straight to DVD, like the old 2000s Final Fantasy movies where they're like CGI shit, basically. Sorry, Final Fantasy fans, it's true. It looks terrible. Okay, rules.
Rules.
Were there any rules in this film?
Not a.
I don't even think cinematic rules applied to this film.
I think no. There are a few things where you can like, even though they ruined it with the shit comedy, the not comedy. That you can tell that some on the stealth checks might have been nat ones and things like that if they were rolling for it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it I wouldn't say so, just because. And I remember wondering this and saying this during it when they were casting spells and things. It was not obvious what spells they were. It was always the same lightning effect or something like that. Or
even if it was like a different, they were reacting differently, or their movement was different. The special effects was just the same.
Yeah,
you know.
And it was always the one thing, and I said this during it. The one thing I did like is there's a moment where the female mage lead, is wanting to cast a spell, so she runs over to her like a pouch, and then she can cast it, which I think obviously for those that watch it that know D&D, it's just cool as though that's like, I saw that as like a little component pouch.
Right,
so obviously all the requirements for her spell would have been in that. So
some of them just cast spells.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Some of them just do stuff.
Yeah.
Like that same mage, she does just open portals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes she uses a component, sometimes she just whatever works for the film in that moment, really. Yeah. I don't think there's much to go on rules. Like, it's pretty empty. It's just a free-for-all. It's like the Wild West of
exactly.
D&D.
It very much felt like just a fantasy movie, and they've slapped D&D Dungeons and Dragons on it. Yeah, because there's a dungeon and there's a dragon.
Yeah,
so
and arguably there's one dungeon.
Yeah.
So, in fact, there's one dungeon, and it's at the beginning of the film, and then near the end of the film where he goes into the cave, it is literally a cave with random green LED light that he then walks over to the green LED light and goes, nope, and walks away.
Yeah, and then falls through the floor.
Yeah. Okay, this is going to be the real one. Fan service. I want to start. There are a million, I'm assuming, racists in this film. Now, none of them, like in the last finale we did, we literally listed off ones we could found because there was so much good fan service that it didn't go, oh look, an Aarakocra. It happened to just be a character that they're talking to rather than make sure you see it.
Or it's just in the background subtly. Right.
In this, you've got a like general of like the kingdom who is clearly evil all the way through, but no one seems to know it. He's just a human with blue lipstick.
Yeah.
That's never explained.
Have weird facial expressions. It looks like he's edging constantly.
So he's 100% He's probably edging right now. You have people who are like blue faces, but with like green rings painted around their eyes. You have green painted faces. One looks like a watermelon.
Yeah, with a third eye.
You've got guards with face helmets that don't fit them. And by face helmets, I mean it's literally just like nose upwards. And it's clearly for a child, but they've got like the biggest
eyes are
guy.
up here.
There are multiple just made up creatures with no reason for it. And it's not like Star Wars, you go, well, we're introducing this new lore. Like, you're literally, for a D&D movie, you're relying on seeing things you know from D&D.
Yeah.
And there aren't any of that. I don't even know, I think they might be orcs.
Well, that's the thing.
They don't look like goblins, they don't look like orcs. They're like Ninja Turtles who've been shriveled.
Yeah, there were one creature I remember seeing that kind of looked like an orc chieftain, but that was more, you know, like the one in the Monster Manual where it's got the red face and but that was on for a split second. That could very well have just been a tall, sweaty person. So
yeah, there are multiple people in this where they've just got like a human
and painted their face.
And just painted their face, and then you can literally see the neckline where it's painted.
Yeah, those creatures, whether they were orcs, I feel like they're too small to be orcs.
It looked like a Ninja Turtle.
Literally a goblin with a massive face that doesn't move. It looked like a mascot.
One good one that we did see, and I'll let you say it, but completely unused. The Beholder.
Oh, of course, yeah. The Beholder was cool.
We saw a Beholder, and then it literally just. It was like on screen for like a couple of frames and they left. And I'm just thinking, the movie has such bad CGI. The one thing that actually looked like a creature from D&D, you would have just spent it on that.
I mean, let's be honest, if they had fought the Beholder, the movie would have ended there and then, though.
Yeah.
So.
But they literally have like full indoor fights in this castle, and that the Beholder never comes back to deal with it.
I find it funny as well how this army, they've got the general of an army who doesn't know how to move faster than a slow walk.
He literally walks for every fight. He walks. He manages to keep up with people who are running away from him.
And he's just walking.
Most of the film is people running away from him, but he walks, and it's really weird that he manages to always get to their spot, and they always get trapped.
Thing is as well, they always manage to get away until the end. So, and I don't know why he doesn't think, maybe if I actually chased them a bit faster, I would catch them.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy's deal is.
Yeah, we've got him. We've got all the guards that are effectively useless, and probably because they can't fucking see. And they've got this. That's all you see of this army. But if they've literally got like beholders and dragons trapped and stuff, how is it so difficult for them to find two thieves?
I do not know. Yeah, so we do have one quote I didn't use for the funability. There's a really long zoom-in shot of the dwarf, which is completely unused in the film. And then he just goes, "That's a weird way to do business." And then he just stares at the screen like it's a like a Looney Tunes. He pulls out his pockets like, "I've got no money." You know, like I have no idea why it's in the film at all. No. It's like a meme. They were like planning on the internet to boom, but they lost all their budget too early.
Thing is, as well, with the dwarf, when they're I can't remember which bit it is. I think it's when, again, the white lead walks in on his own. It kind of like cuts to some grass, then it for literally less than a second. So it's like they've forgot to edit it out. It cuts to the dwarf and then immediately cuts out. But when it cuts to the dwarf, he's just like pulling a weird face.
He climbs, the lead climbs over a wall to like infiltrate. Yeah. Even though they've got an army of elves and the elves do not help. And then the dwarf, it just cuts in for a second, and he's just staring like in a really weird,
like he's having a shit.
They've accidentally not taken it out of the film, like in the edit.
So bad.
And then just like earlier on we were saying about the death of snails, and then the elf just saying, "Don't question it." She then, obviously, because people are going, "Why don't they use this unit of elves they got?" She then tells the dwarf, like
he's
they
meant
need
to go alone.
Yeah, meant to go alone, but there's literally got snails with him, so it doesn't make any sense.
And then later in the movie, instead of trying to figure out how to get through this barrier, she again just like, "This is for you alone," and it's just
yeah. Also, her armor. It's like the cornetto. Like her armor is so accentuated to have like massive pointy like tits.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense in what use that would be.
No.
And
it actually looks like something from Daft Punk or something.
It looks like a Lady Gaga costume. But what doesn't make sense is not even because of the time period. Like, you've had Xena and like Hercules and all these shows in the 90s, like Monster a Week kind of shows exist, and the trashy thing you get in fantasy is like, it's gonna have like a maiden, like a warrior maid, and she's gonna have like big boobs, but they're on display, and you go, well, that's not why would that be helpful in a fight? This woman, they're like, we haven't got any boobs, we're just going to give her massive cornetto tits like for armour, because that's also not helpful in a fight. No. You've done the opposite. Oh,
the movie's so good. So bad.
So bad.
It's horrible.
This is more of a rant than a topical episode.
Literally.
But it is trash, and we hope that you all enjoy it. You should go and watch it if you can find it.
You should watch it.
It's not on Amazon. No. It's not on Netflix.
Thank fuck.
It's not on where else did we look? It's not on Disney.
You know what we should do? I'll have a look at CX. I'll buy a disc, and we could give it away to someone.
Why not? Give it away. Yeah, maybe a little. Maybe in our dice giveaway.
Yeah, there you go.
But at this point of this episode, it would already been released. The dice giveaway. Sorry, guys. Okay. Well, anything else?
No, honestly, like I said, I tried to see the best in it, and I'm glad I watched it. I enjoyed watching it, but I only enjoyed the fact that it was so shit. And every 10 minutes, I was either laughing at how bad it was, questioning what's happening, or just yelling, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, I think people should watch this movie. I remember how bad it was, and I hated watching it, but I was excited to watch it in between the hating it, because I knew how much it would be fun.
It's definitely
my decision.
It's one of those ones you have to watch just to hate it. It's like watching a B movie.
The B movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I'll never hate that.
Okay. Well, should we? Yeah. Should we end?
Well, wait. What would you give it out of
10? I wouldn't even give it a 1.
Would you not?
Like, it actually wasted 2 hours of my time.
Well, 4 hours now, you fucking loser. You watched it twice.
That's true. And my dad left the first time. You think I would have learned then?
I know. Joke's on you, it's me this time. I'd probably give it a 1 or a 2. And
that's too much.
The only reason I'm saying maybe a 2, maybe on a good day, if I'm feeling generous, a 3. That is only because of how shit. Like I said, because I knew it was shit, I went in with no expectations. If I'd have watched it with even average, thinking it might be alright, I would have hated it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Fair enough.
So I'll say a 2.
Nice. Very nice of you. Very kind. Yeah. Okay, well, today's adventure has sadly come to a close, but we're back again next week with Season 4 with the topic, if you've amputated a single limb from every human in the world, could you make everyone hold hands 3 times globally?
I don't know how that works, but yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
actually a statistic.
Okay.
That's how many arms there are in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just keep... Yep.
Okay, cool. And as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to join on the D&D action, then please follow us on Instagram and TikTok at HousePlayD&D, or check out the link on our bio to join our Discord server. I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Lewis McCaffery.
Good day.
Goodbye.